Scatter, your key to the blockchain. Signatures, identity, reputation, and security for everyone. The opinions expressed in this show are not the opinions of our sponsors. Hi everyone, this is Jenny. I'm also known as TopKpop, and this is the EOS Very Cool channel. Today I am back with another amazing interview for the Women of EOS series on this channel, and I am joined by Roselyne of EOS Nairobi. Hi Roselyne.
Hi, how are you?
I am fantastic. I feel so bad because I know we've been meaning so much to do this interview, and I canceled on you last time and I felt so bad. And I'm so glad you agreed to come back on.
Yeah, thank you. It's my pleasure too.
Oh, I'm so happy. I will honestly say I've been a fan of EOS Nairobi for a while, even though I can't say I'm a fan of someone, but
yeah, sure.
Yes. So I would love if I could share a little bit about you with the audience that is watching, well, will be watching soon. So could you introduce your wonderful self to the audience?
All right. So hi, everyone. My name is Roselyne Wanjiru, just as Jenny has introduced me. I am from Kenya in Africa. We specifically are based in Nairobi, and it's a wonderful city. You should totally visit. So I'm sorry for that. I'm an economist by training, and I've really come to love the EOS community. So I am a sister to all the ladies in EOS and all the wonderful gentlemen who are out there. So let's have this as a family chat.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
I love the close mentality because you seem very welcoming, which is fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So I'd be curious. You said you obviously love EOS here. What made you get involved in blockchain, let alone why did you just decide to hitch your wagon to EOS?
All right, so let me bring a little bit of context. Around last year, I was looking for options for my master's degree, and I was really interested in the space of IT tech, and I wanted to do something in data science because I felt, yes, I'm an economist, but I need to be able to understand the digital space and how that is evolving. So when I started looking at options, then I came to learn about special interest areas of research in cybersecurity, blockchain technology coming up. I'd already heard about it before, but then for me now, this was taking a really personal interest. So the more I got researching about which options to take for my data science or my master's degree in data science, then now coming along to options in cybersecurity, and then now blockchain technology and how that offers benefits in terms of, I mean, this is tech that literally can't be hacked, So it just got me thinking, how can I apply this on a personal level? How can I apply this and just not have another degree, so to speak, in data science, but how can I bring myself into the blockchain space and offer value as a researcher? So all these questions were running through my mind, and that got me thinking, okay, what if I come up with a solution, maybe for instance, as in the space of copyright management as an area of focus, so that I see how I can use this as a research area. Because I had been an editor before, and I worked with a couple of emerging authors and came to learn about their challenges in the whole process of, you come up with your book, someone designs it, and unfortunately, after you've published it, someone else just comes and copies those things, and they just come and destroy your work. So I saw that blockchain technology could offer a potential solution in this, and that got me, oh wow, all these ideas are now just coming together. So as I got researching about, okay, so how can I make this happen? That's the process, or that's the space in which now I began to meet people who are already in Kenya, and particularly in Nairobi, who are already in the blockchain space, doing research and doing initiatives, doing training. And as I got more involved in training, EOS Nairobi literally stepped in to meet that need for me. And here I am.
Wow.
Yeah. So
wow.
it was a personal journey, yes, but at the same time, it became bigger than me. So literally speaking, I found a community in EOS that could allow me to be part of something bigger than myself and be able to help people out there who, just definitely need the benefits that this tech has to offer.
Wow, that's That is so cool to hear you explain how you
Yeah,
got to where you did. And I love that you said they just kind of stepped in and it's like, hey, here, this is what you can do. But just, I, I don't think I've ever been genuinely that curious about something to follow it all over. So, I mean, that's really
yeah,
impressive.
yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. I don't even know what to say to that. I'm like,
Relax, just
I'm kind
breathe.
of
We're having
intimidated
a
right
conversation.
now.
No, please. Just breathe and relax. We're having a chat. So this is
Wow.
just a bit about my story. So yeah.
No, that is fantastic. And obviously, I mean, with someone with such a curious mind, I'm sure
Yeah.
you are such an asset. Such
Yes.
an asset. That is fantastic.
Yeah.
So have you helped, I mean, how much have you, it's not even on my questions, I'm so sorry, but
It's okay.
how many people do you feel like you have touched since joining EOS Nairobi? Like just with all your enthusiasm and your knowledge and everything so far.
Maybe a couple of, let me say maybe a couple of hundred that I know, but there's still friends of friends who keep on telling me when they see my posts, so either on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, that, oh wow, I love what you've been doing. I've been following your work. I get some messages on Telegram as well, and it's really encouraging in terms of, oh wow, you mean people are following my story and they're getting encouraged and they can see that they don't have to be way out of their league to follow what I'm doing and be part of it. They can learn from where they are, because I started somewhere and they too can start somewhere.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a
Yeah.
little quote thing
All
with that
right.
in, just so you know, and I'm going to send it to you because I love that.
Yeah. Thank you.
So,
Yeah.
what are you currently personally working on at the moment?
I'm working on just simplified educational trials. So
Okay.
what led me to that is that the more I got into research, the more I realized, wait a minute, we're kind of in an in-between space whereby we have the early adopters that have really rocked the space. But we also have the early majority that really wants to come in, but they don't totally get what the whole space is about. So in some sectors, there's a bit of a disconnect because the early majority, so to speak, is bombarded by tons of information about this is blockchain, distributed ledgers, this is EOS, that is NEM, this is this, so, but they're just filled in with so much information. But then I realized, what if we just take a few steps back? Now, okay, we who are in the early adopter stage, and we just break these things down back to basics, and not just back to basics, but build relational bridges with what these guys already know and what blockchain is changing, so that it doesn't sound like blockchain is going to disrupt everything, change everything, take away your job and AI. And when you hear all these big words coming together, you think, oh wow, will I be relevant in the future? And that's not the case. We just need to be able to help people to see, this is what blockchain is, this is what it can do, you've been doing this, and this is where blockchain comes in. So that's why I noticed a need, and I felt that I need to work on just simple just either articles or messages or tutorials that just help guys understand blockchain in an everyday setup, in an everyday sense. Because literally, when the internet was starting out as a technology, not too many of us were in the leading space, but today we use it for literally almost everything. So if blockchain, as we're talking about it now, is going to change everything, then we need to be able to have people who break down the concepts and just help us see, this is tech. Yes, it's not the tech that's ruining everything, but we need to understand certain thought processes, certain principles, and just certain things that will help us appreciate this tech a lot better than we do right now.
Oh, fantastic. I love
Yeah,
that because you really do have to hit I'm going to use the average person, but you do really
yeah,
have to hit the average person. And why is this not scary? How can it relate to
yes,
you? How can it? I love that mentality. And I think so many more people, to be honest, need to jump on that.
yeah,
Because I mean, I'm new enough to the blockchain space, but I mean, now
yeah,
I've been here for a while. Other people
yeah.
like don't know what it is. Is it going to be
It's
like
just,
from the
yeah.
Terminator where it's going to take us over type of thing?
I know, yeah. I'm actually part of the EOS education group, and I've just been learning and really getting to see a lot of what amazing guys in the EOS community are doing. So it's also encouraged me and inspired me to say, hey, these guys are doing amazing stuff with educating people about basics. So why shouldn't I step in as well and just do my little bit? Because I think one of the amazing quotes in EOS said that, I'm not sure who said that, but they said that never dismiss what a small group of thoughtful citizens can do. I'm just rephrasing that, but it just shows us that the little things that you're doing to help someone else out there, they come back. I mean, they make an impact, and sometimes you may never see the full measure of it, but it should not stop you from doing your little bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, we all have to have that mentality that even that little action can help someone down the road.
Yeah.
Oh,
because even for me, it's that someone stopped and took their time to explain to me that, hey, this is what blockchain will do. These are the opportunities that are there. This is how you can step in. Someone did that for me, and why shouldn't I do that for someone else?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love that mentality. My gosh.
Thank you.
Is there, I'd be curious in the EO space, because you are involved. I mean, I see you all over the place, and I love that you're in the EOS-IO education. Obviously, it suits you because of what you're doing and what you believe in, and I think that's fantastic. Is there something in the little EOS atmosphere that you are actually looking forward to? That's maybe in the back end that maybe people don't know about, or just something you've been watching outside of what you're currently doing?
So I've been keenly following the URI, the Universal Resource Inheritance. And for me, that's at the heart of it, if I may just put it that sense, we're incentivizing productivity, right? Mm-hmm. We want to get people to appreciate or just get to see the fact that we're rewarding work, not wealth. I've had that a lot in recent conversations, I think, around even the UN and just different circles, so to speak. So the idea is that whereas people are wondering in the future that we're headed towards, in the future of work and the fourth industrial revolution, how will people get income? How will people make wealth? How will people transact value? How will people just basically get to share the value that they mean to share, or exchange that in simple ways where all these technologies are literally just calling the shots, if I may put it that way. Because then now it's not about the railway network or about fuel or oil, but it's tech, literally speaking. So when we think about all these things, I think for me, the URI proposal really makes sense. It really makes sense, and it fits for me, whereby now we just get people to appreciate that, yes, we are moving into a new space, and this is how we need to journey into that, right? Because I think for example, in the sharing economy, when we put it that way, and the space or whereby you can get your job by just freelance, freelance, bid for it, get work. You don't have to be going to an office. That's a disruption, so to speak, because now so many people don't have to go to a physical office to put in their hours and get, rewarded for their work. That model is changing. So the more it changes, the more we need to understand, okay, how else is this changing? What does that mean for, so to speak, the average citizen? What does that mean for kids who are still in school right now? What does that mean for elderly citizens? So the discussions that are going on in the URI group for me are really helping to answer some of the questions that I have about the future of work and how we need to be able to both generate and exchange value. And that's not just for money, but that's for work and so many things that are tied around work.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you take, are you more watching the conversations, or are you speaking in that group as well? I'd be curious.
At this point, I've been more following and studying, because for me now, I take my way of engaging, so to speak, in the last year, or as I've come to learn, is that I study first, study heavy, understand, and now little by little participate as I understand it, and then I'm able to connect. Oh, so this relates to this relates to that. I tend to learn in a relational way, whereby if I can connect this bit of knowledge to this other bit of knowledge, then it helps me really engage and understand it a lot better.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm a watcher too, so At least
It's
to
all
a
right.
point. But I love that you want
We'll
to.
be engagers. We'll be the engagers. So the more we keep on, just we'll do a little bit of watching, but when the light bulbs keep coming, then we'll be able to engage a lot better.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. Because you connected all right.
Yeah. We're connected. That's what matters the most.
Absolutely, it is. I love that it
Yeah.
was. I did not expect you to say URI. I don't know why. I was just like, I'm curious because I don't know. But what would you see the biggest impact? Maybe let's say where you are physically, geographically. I'll say, what would you say the biggest impact URI would have over there?
In Africa, for example.
Mhm.
So for Africa, it's let me use okay, there are so many different narratives I could pick, but let me just pick one that I think I can run with for the space of this conversation.
Sure.
So there's been a lot of talk about how we can incentivize trade within Africa, not necessarily just outside Africa, because we find that there's so much volume of import and export and so on and so forth that are outward rather than inward or within. So I find that EOS, first of all, as an idea and as a movement, is capable of generating those conversations or sparking those thoughts among young people, especially because majority of, let me not say majority, but the median population is still within the 25-19 bracket. So we're talking about young people who are really in a space where they can embrace this tech and use it to break down barriers of trade that have been there for generations. I mean, literally for generations before them. But this here means that young people have an opportunity to embrace this tech and exchange value, being almost borderless, so to speak. And as they're able to do that, then that means that so many more people will be able to participate on the global in the global space. Not necessarily that, or rather not necessarily, but that the narrative wouldn't be that Africa is being left out, but that we are participating here and now. And not just through the URI proposal, but because it's not in isolation really. There's a lot of ideas that are coming up. So for me, I'm looking at what ideas are coming out, how many people are able to understand them, and how can we connect and now act on them so that we don't just get stuck on the idea. Because when an idea now so to speak gets a life of its own, then that's where we're really able to see that change making its way into people's lives.
Absolutely. And I mean, one
Yeah,
idea can spur off another, right?
definitely.
I love
And that's the thing that I'm so excited about right now, about EOS and the blockchain space. So for me, it's that the people that I met earlier this year, the team, the wonderful team at EOS Nairobi, for me, there's so many thoughts that I got to learn and that sparked me. And then I saw, wow, you mean this is possible? Wow, you mean this is being done? Wow, you mean this is, and this is just for me as a on a personal level. So there's a lot that I'm learning, and I'm like, as I share my journey, there's someone else who's learning. It's really a chain. It's going to be a chain reaction, or how do we put it? The butterfly effect. So I'm learning here. I get this idea. I may not have to understand it fully, but someone else will come and explain something that will make me see, oh wow, so this is what I need to do, and that's how the transformation is going to come about. So that's why I'm really such a big believer in the blockchain idea, the blockchain movement, or the EOS promise, the EOS movement, and all that it's supposed to be.
Love
Because
it.
I think beyond the tech, and even the fact that I'm getting to talk to you today, it's that ideas have been shared, an experience has been shared, literally speaking, and we're getting to share our thoughts about what this means for our lives. So
Absolutely.
yeah, so I mean, it's not just the tech itself, I mean, it's not just the code, but what, for me, it's that what ideas are being brought out of this, and how can these ideas literally change our lives? How can they make our lives better?
I can see that. I mean, there seems to be a lot of conversation and a lot of sharing of education and experience, and
Yeah,
almost like communities coming together. And I absolutely love that. I mean, just
yeah,
such a strong force. Absolutely
yeah,
love that.
yeah. So let me not take away the light from other. I mean, I'm in quite a number of EOS related groups. I have to probably give a shout out to EOS writers, because they have amazing creatives over there. So the editor in me absolutely connects to them and loves the talent that's right over there. So yeah, I have to give a shout out to all the groups that I'm in.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm sure it would take you forever to like name them
It'll take
all.
me forever. Yeah.
There's too many people. There's like too many groups, but
Yeah,
it's
too
full
many.
of passionate people. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love that.
Yeah.
So now pivoting, let's say we pivot a little bit, and I'm going to bring you over to, because of course this is the Women of EOS as well.
Yeah.
So I'm going to bring you over to some of the women topics I have. So it always comes up because I ask the same question all the time, but I love all the different answers I get.
Yeah.
I know that there's more women coming into the crypto space, to the blockchain space, etc.
Yeah.
I would be, or how do you get more women involved? Like, I'm going to back up a bit. What would you say to the people that are cautious about getting involved? The women that are just sitting on the sidelines, don't know what to do. I mean, you have a very good way of relating to them. I'd love to know what you would say to someone.
All right. I met this wonderful lady who's part of EOS called Katie. Hi, Katie. So I saw Katie's work through Twitter the very first times, and then on Telegram. And what she did is that she used her talent, so to speak, or skill at the level that she was to connect and to plug into EOS. For me, the more I observed that, the more it encouraged me and showed me that, hey, I do have something. So I would ask any lady or just sit down and tell her, what do you have? What can you do? Is it PR? You're good with PR, you're good with marketing, you're good with social media, you're good with writing, you're good at something, even if it's just one thing. So the thing is, how can this one thing or more than one thing literally be part of a community or an initiative or a company in the blockchain space? And that's where networking comes in. For two ladies to meet, sit down, say hi, it's not very hard. So it's that easy. Literally, it's that easy. So those two things for me, I would just make it I would just put it out for any lady to see that you do have something that you can use. And you're good at networking already. It's not that hard to say hi to someone. I mean, okay, what's the worst they can do? Okay, let me not ask what's the worst they can do. But one of the best things that can happen is that you get to make a friend, and not just make a friend, but find someone who will spark something in you and get you to see that you can do more than you think you're capable of doing. So I think that the challenge probably with women getting into the blockchain space is seeing that thinking that you have to be a coder or a developer or hands-on in the technical code, so to speak. And my personal view is that you don't have to be a developer in code to be a participant in the blockchain space. Why? Because it's so diverse. This is the first, so to speak, tech that's bringing in so many fields together. It's not just about the code, but systems that need to be built, concepts that need to be taught, businesses that need to be run. So for as long as there are concepts to be taught, businesses to be run, and things to be done, we can do them. So that's literally, for me, we can be part of this, and we don't need to limit ourselves. I'm not the only lady who is here. Jenny is here, Kitty is there. I mean, there's so many amazing ladies that if I start mentioning, we're going to take way longer, but I really have to commend the women in EOS because, and especially for Shios. Shios is, I mean, they are the best example. They stepped out and they're showing us how it's done. So literally speaking, for me, there's no reason why ladies can't participate. The cybercode twins, my goodness, have you seen their work?
Yeah.
I mean, we're crying out loud. So these amazing ladies have made the message simple. There's something that you can do. Please go ahead and do it. If you need a mentor, you can reach out. It's not so hard. I have had mentors, both amazing men and amazing women in the blockchain space. So it's not that we can't do this. We can. We just need to be able to break that tiny little bit of fear. If it's on an eggshell, just crush it. Then now find out what you can do. I mean, it's better to have tried than wish that you had tried 5 years from now when things have literally evolved at such a crazy pace. So please do your part now and step in where you can. Don't be intimidated. I mean, please do not. It's not, it's not a destination.
Love it. That was so full of goodness.
Yeah. And I mean, even if someone is going to do it part-time at first, it's okay. You don't have to switch your career at at the start, because maybe someone is thinking they have to leave everything they're doing. I'm like, no, just start little by little and grow from there.
Love it.
Yeah.
No,
So that's my rallying call to every other lady out there who's who's wondering, how do I become a part of this? You know what you can do? Please reach out to a lady and get going, even if it's just an hour a day.
Absolutely. And I mean, I love that, because you do. I mean, it's been everything you've been saying so far, to be honest, but it's the relating it to, what do I do now? What do I have to offer?
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a good pattern, which I love. It's like you're always same value, and I love it.
Yes, value. Because again, I think that's for me one of the revolving themes that has come so strongly. The more I just engage with different people in the EOS space, what value are we bringing? Because if there's no value at the end of the day, then why are we doing this?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I don't even think, I know there's because I've heard some comments sometimes where even men, are they think they have to be just technical.
Yeah.
That's also not the case. I mean, obviously I'm speaking about women because this is the women portion of it, but it's the same thing. Everyone should just relate it to what they're good at or what they're interested in, or even be like you and just follow data science. It brings you somewhere else. Crazy.
Yeah. Because honestly, I didn't think that I would literally take a career shift into the blockchain space, but here I am. Literally in the deep of it, and it's something that I realize there's so many of my interests that revolve around this space. So I guess it's also, as someone gets to know and understand themselves. So being involved in the tech or the blockchain space, it's not an isolated journey. Like it's really not just isolated. It's also related to, what are your interests? What are you good at? How are you growing as a person? Are you curious to learn? Are you just willing to see something different from what you're used to? So if you're open to that, then you can learn. You're ready. This tech is ready for you, and you are ready for it.
Love that.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. It's a positive.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, we're talking about positivity and stuff here. I would be curious. Do you find that there are any challenges, or have you encountered any challenges as being a woman in this space?
For me, I would say that the challenges that I've encountered, I have found a way to sort of work around them. Because again, if I, for example, decided to be alone in this, or go at this alone, that it's my own push or my own ambition, I'd have been stuck. And sometimes I think the challenges come down to a personality level, because yes, there are discussions around like the gender pay gap, skills being limited, limitations in education. Allow me to just veer off a little bit from those and bring it down to a personal level. Like, if someone lets their personality get in the way, or they let their mentality get in the way, then these challenges are not necessarily tied to the overall picture, but they're real challenges that do need to be overcome. So with this opportunity, just as we're speaking, then and for someone who's watching this, I'd be like, what personal challenges do you have in terms of your personality? Do you think you're too closed in? Do you think you feel that you've learned everything that there is to learn, so you're not hungry to learn, you're not curious to learn? So maybe you feel that this tech doesn't apply to you, or it won't disrupt your industry. So that in itself for me is a more real challenge than the institutional ones that are out there, because we can't necessarily change the bigger challenges that are out there, but we can work on the ones that we identify. Okay, so maybe I'm not that open to different thoughts. So is there a way you can actually work around that and be able to sit down in a place and appreciate divergent thoughts, appreciate contradicting thoughts, and appreciate just different schools of thoughts that are there, but they'll actually help me see that, okay, so if I'm engaged in the tech space and the blockchain space, and as a woman, then I don't need to let the internal challenges limit me. I need to be able to see that, yes, there are industrial challenges that are going on, and yes, that's fine. But in as much as I do have people that I can reach out to that can help me, then let me do that. Let me reach out to a mentor to help me grow. And as I grow, as I read more, as I do more, then it'll be about my competency as a woman. It'll be about the results that I can deliver. It'll be about the value that I can give out there. It'll be about that other person that I can help to, get to a place that I couldn't even get to. So I think for me, that's how I'm thinking about, the challenges for women in tech. Because yes, there have been amazing discussions about that. So for me, that's so to speak the nugget that I would share.
I like that you pivot that way, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because you are right. I mean, you can't, obviously there have been many women that have gone and, try to go against society. And I think I absolutely love that. And I think that's fantastic. But you're right. There's another side to the coin where we can just look internally and almost bypass some of those issues in a way.
Yeah.
I love that mentality. It's very refreshing in a way.
I'm happy.
Not that anyone else's answers are wrong, but it's different.
It's just something that we don't talk about every day because let's say even for a woman who's dealing with postpartum depression, that's a real challenge to her. And the industry can't solve that for her, but another woman can step in and actually help her overcome that. And when she does, she realizes, oh, wow, this thing was holding my life back. And that's on the level of a personal challenge, but it's something that she needs to be able to choose to work through and overcome. So for one woman, it might be that it's her family, the challenge at the family level, but she needs to be able to decide that I will not let this hold me back. I'll actually step forward and do my little bit of contributing and making value. I'm not seeing that as a small thing, but actually seeing that I may see it as a small thing, but to someone else, it's a big deal. So for the reason that someone else will see it as a big deal and it will bring impact, then let me do my small but great thing. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. That's going to bring up a lot of thoughts. I like that message. I do. I really like those messages.
Wow.
Yeah, and you answered it really well. Very different. I enjoy that.
Thank you.
I mean, it's funny because it's like I've asked you so many questions, and you really are like hitting them out of the park. Yeah, so you're kind of leaving me a little speechless here.
Oops. Okay, we can.
Oops is nothing. That's a good thing. I mean, people are able to do it, so it's so many thoughts in my mind right now, and I adore them. And I think it's going to come across just fantastic and in such different lights. Like I love the positivity that you put out there, but I love the self-accountability.
Yeah.
I think that's just, really, really what I like, take steps, step on your eggshell, get out, ask for help, connect with people.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I thoroughly enjoy that. So, I mean, we've touched on this in a way. How would you pull more women, let's say that, haven't even really been interested in blockchain or EOS or anything, think, probably everything's good, normal daily life is awesome. How would you pull more women over into this space?
There's something a friend of mine taught me a while back, and at the time, although that was in 2014, yes, I was actually in the insurance space. I was taking up just a short stint because I just wanted to learn the ropes about that side of business, and it was also partly an internship. So she said, she was our team manager at the time, and she said, if you want to present insurance to a doctor, you need to be able to present it in their language. So you need to understand medical terms and be able to just present this in their language for them to understand. That lesson has never left me. And I think when I now meet just new people who are asking me, so what is blockchain? Why do you talk about it so much? Why are you posting about it every day? Why are you talking about this like with so much emphasis? And it's as if it's the only thing you're talking about. And I say, for that person who needs to see this in their language, then I need to be able to speak that in their language for them to be able to get the interest to start with. Because if they don't have the interest, then my speech will just literally be blah, blah, blockchain, blah. I don't get that. I don't relate with that. Too bad. if I may put it that way. Because, I mean, if even if you just sit down with someone and have a normal conversation, if you don't necessarily strike the oil of what they're interested in, then that conversation tends to be a kind of flat, so to speak, until you find really what's your what's your talking point, what's your connection point. So for me, I'd love to reach out to the diverse interested people in terms of, okay, so you're in the shipping industry. What are your pain points? Can blockchain relate to those pain points? Then if blockchain can relate to those pain points, I think I can at least get an interest that's, stirred up in you. If it's in the medical space, what are the pain points in the medical space? What are the pain points in the educational space? Is it fraud? Is it intermediaries? Is it that data gets corrupted? So all the pain points that blockchain technology is first of all set to solve, I need to be able to break those down and present them in the language that this person is used to, so that they can have the interest to begin with. And now once they have the interest, I actually have someone who can now engage, so to speak, in terms of both thought and solution in the space, because the developers don't have all the solutions put together. I mean, no one has all the ideas at any given point in time, but it's that if I can speak something in your language and then you understand me, then you're actually able to bring forth the value that you yourself have, and we actually get to connect and say, oh wow, so we can actually do something awesome together. Wow, then let's do this.
Wow. Everyone probably wants you on their team, right? How you explain that?
Yeah.
So, it's funny because while you're talking, it also, I'm going to put you on the spot in a way.
Yeah.
It's really not a big question, but I'm curious. Okay. You always have a fantastic answer for everything. So if you met someone new, they know nothing about this space. They just, and one of the typical questions, at least I encounter, is, so what do you do? Yeah. How do you answer that question?
So I initially do not mention blockchain. I say I'm a researcher, and a researcher in what? In the tech space. So that gets them curious, because let me even give an example of just yesterday. Yesterday was a public holiday here. So I went out and I had like just 2 different meetups and not too far from home. So I was coming up from the first meetup going to the second, and on the way, the cab driver just asked me, so what do you do? And I said, I'm a researcher. And he said, in the tech space. So he's got interest. So which tech are you talking about? And I said, you see how we've used internet? It took us a while to learn. Yes. Have you heard about blockchain? Oh, wait, the one that's Bitcoin? Yeah. So I work with literally just what he has. And I said, oh, so we've used that, right? So in the sense that we've used that, this tech is related to the internet, which took us a while to learn. And this one too will take us a while to learn. But if you're interested in the business side of it, then you need to be able to think about what can you do at this early stage. So this is, for the cab guy, he's interested in probably something that's going to bring him income. So if he's interested, or he can take the risk and probably build a business in the, while it's still early, then that would work out well for him. So that's just for the cab driver. If I meet a doctor, well, the doctor can relate to the language of research. So yeah, for me, it's easier for guys to connect with the aspect of research than, blockchain, this, that. I mean, yeah. So that's how I kind of introduce it.
Fantastic approach.
Yeah. So I just try to bring a sense of safety to the words that are used in this tech, because you find that for some people, especially those who have maybe lost some money in crypto trading, they don't want to hear about blockchain or crypto. So I'm like, let me not come in the edge that they've, the bad rep that they've gotten. Let me speak as a researcher so that we can engage and just exchange thoughts and
love that.
Get to see how this actually works.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that. Wow, I love that. Okay, well, I mean, good for you, because I just threw that at you and I was so curious.
All right, that's cool. That's cool.
I love that you had something to that you actually had experiences to draw on, though. You're like, oh wait, this just happened yesterday. So
I mean, that's just yesterday. Wow. And now I'm also looking forward to have a one-on-one with a few kids coming in probably maybe next week, or just once I lock down the date. But I've also been really inspired by Lincoln Method and what they're doing with kids, just teaching them the basics about blockchain. And literally they just get these kids to say, I know this crypto, I know that crypto, I know what blockchain is. And when you see a kid excited about that, that literally tells adults, hey, this thing is not too hard. This kid can tell you that. And you see, this is bringing in the next generation on board, because they'll be, I mean, they're literally, they could be the ones to bring, probably the next wave of innovation that us guys are not seeing, because for them it's so simple and straightforward.
Absolutely. I mean,
yeah, so I'm looking forward to just actually get a bunch of kids, teach them what blockchain is, of course, EOS, and see what that will do.
Love it. Absolutely love it. I would love to see how that turns out too, because
I'll definitely send you photos or videos.
Please, that would be wonderful. I mean, they can now, I mean, obviously they're a little bit more forward than we are because they get to start with things we didn't have, but just how they go with so quickly. Sometimes I'm amazed because I have a little one and just what the heck she picks up, and the little connect, she's like, oh no, you can move things with your hand. And I'm like, I'm sitting here thinking it's tough. And I mean, particular things, but I mean, now I feel old, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, okay. I would love to know, because you have so much to say about the space. Do you, because of all you're involved in and all you're doing and all the message you're spreading and even getting the little ones, well, I say little ones, but the younger ones involved. Do you have any thoughts or dreams, I guess you could say, of how EOS would look in, like, let's give it 5 years? I'd be so curious what you would envision it as.
As it's being called the exponential operating system, or everyone's operating system. I'm sure you've heard about that, right?
Oh yes, and they can't seem to decide what it is. Yeah.
No, it's okay if we can't decide. I mean, both of them apply. I mean,
that's true.
So that's a starting point. So it's going to be very important for different communities, developers, and how do I say, just different people who are involved in the space, to just see how can we make this tech applicable in the real world. Because I think one of the challenges, or if I may say goals right now in the blockchain space really generally, is to get more users. So once EOS once the EOS community is able to answer that bit, that this is how we're going to get more users, and this is how we're going to get more solutions, more industries involved, more businesses impacted, then it's going to be literally part of the fabric of everyday business. And the fact that we have had chains like Wobbly launching, and Wobbly is a fast KYC, if I may put it that way, financial services app. And it's an incredible solution for me, so to speak, because then now this is bringing the element of trust to the financial community. And if you want to break through to any other industry, you cannot ignore the finance industry, the financial space, literally the world of finance. You can't ignore that. So once we get more ecosystems like Wobbly and EOS Force and so many other amazing projects that are already there, then EOS will be like, how do I even say this? It'll be like the internet that we use every day, but we don't even consciously think about we are using the internet to do A, B, C, D, F to KH. It's that the thoughts will be so ingrained in our businesses and in our apps and in our daily use that, it's really going to help us make the most of this tech. Because I think for me, I found that one of the goals of EOS really is to secure life, liberty, and property. So once we stick to that as a community, then we're going to see amazing solutions in the next 5 years, I believe. So I am definitely rooting for more women to join this space and and just contribute to that, to shaping what that will look like for different industries. And definitely just something that I always campaign for is that let's not get stuck on the technical aspect. Let's see what this can do for real world use cases and real world businesses, and literally how are we going to use this to improve our lives. So once we get to think about and answer that question, then EOS is really going to be instrumental in that. And it's not necessarily I'm not saying it's a perfect blockchain, but it's really the best at this point in time.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the best at this point in time. So that's not, again, a laurel to be held like, yeah, we know we have to stick to this and not let any other blockchain come and take over the space, but literally just challenge the community. Let's be open to the thoughts that will help people be able to take advantage of this tech, until we don't necessarily have to campaign, hey people, let's learn about blockchain, let's learn about EOS. I mean, can we do this? You've provided solutions for them to use. So it's not a question of what your value proposition is.
Absolutely. You shouldn't have to sell the tech. It should have.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Yeah, so for 5 years from now, I believe we'll have answered that question. I believe we'll have really gotten into that space. I mean, when I see apps like Ava, when I see apps like Drive, when I see apps like If When Then, initiatives like If When Then I know we're headed in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Absolutely. No, yeah, I fully agree. And I also fully agree with, you cannot ignore the financial sector, no matter how much people dislike it.
Yeah.
We all need to pay for stuff. We all need to, have wages, and the trust has to be there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love that. I mean,
yeah. Actually, there's this article called The $29 Trillion Cost of Trust.
Okay.
I'd love to, I don't know if you've read it, but I'd love to just recommend that. And it just helps us appreciate that when we talk about blockchain, we need to be able to understand what trust means in the financial sense, in the, in the very fact that we're not island. I mean, no person is an island, right? So we have to transact with people, interact with them, and trust is a huge deal. So once we are able to just appreciate how that works, then we'll appreciate blockchain a lot better than we do. And again, another key thought is that of decentralization. This book called The Starfish and the Spider, it's also an amazing book, and it just talks about how, decentralization looks like. Because for blockchain, one of the things that guys are talking about, the difference between centralization and intermediarization, whereby it's taking away the intermediary, but for some guys it's that you're taking away the central authority. But we just need to understand that some central aspects need to be there. Some intermediaries will probably just reform and take a different shape, but through this tech, then we're able to see what will be the most efficient solution for people, for families, communities, businesses, nations, and it really just stretches across different people groups.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I think one of the biggest points you've actually mentioned is the trust.
Yeah.
I think currently in this day and age, we do probably have a trust issue.
Yeah.
For very, very many reasons. But
yeah.
I love that, it's, we do have, that you say 5 years from now, where we're talking and thinking and seeing if that can possibly be adapted and changed to the real world. Well, maybe we can actually inherently be able to trust things through this. And I love that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I think back in the day when it was barter trade, then you had to trust that your neighbor will bring the thing that you needed. And since you had agreed on a specific price, then you just had to trust that they'd keep their word.
Yeah.
So I think that thing about being able to trust this other person and their word, it's a huge deal.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a huge deal. It's a huge deal.
Yeah. And in a way, this makes it more possible and kind of re-teaches us in a way. So
yes, it does. It does. And we just need to be open to learn. It's not that complicated.
No, absolutely.
And I think it's now you and I to remove the complication out of it.
Oh, man. Yeah. I mean, you're removing a lot of complication from things for people that are on board. And I love that.
I'm happy.
Oh, I'm so excited. I actually feel even more bad now that I canceled our first interview, because I could have had this out so long ago. Because it's just, I absolutely love the way that you think of things.
Yeah.
And I'm really impressed by it. So I'm very much so walking away happy from this, because it's just, I'm so excited to share this. Like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
Wow.
No,
I'm happy that you are.
I am. I'm very, very, not that I wasn't impressed before. I love being able to have conversations, because I haven't been able to connect too much. I am I am typically either behind my screen one way or another.
Yeah.
But I love this.
Me
I
too.
I have no more questions because
Oh
you
my.
answered them so well, except is there anything that maybe I didn't ask or we didn't segue to here that you would love to share or talk about or mention or anything whatsoever? Yeah.
I think mine is more of an encouragement because I know that being in the bear market, it's quite insane, crazy, stretchy, and it's just really different things for different people. There might have been those who are ready for it. There might have been those who didn't see it coming, and there might have been those who are actually now questioning: should I really be involved in the blockchain space in as much as I am? And these are very valid questions for people out there. So this goes out to investors, to developers, builders, and the doomsayers and the naysayers were like, this thing is going to go down, it's going to be over. And some people are wondering, I invested a lot of my life into this. I built communities, I built a company, I built a DApp that's already just probably waiting to be built out, but conditions in the bear market don't support them releasing and building it out fully. But I'd just like to encourage them that being in the pioneering end has this same challenge. You build out as a pioneer, not seeing what you're gonna encounter, what you're gonna face as a challenge, but you know very well what your vision is like, and you know the value that you want to bring out. So at this point, I just say, for those who are pioneering, please don't quit. Do not quit. Look at someone else who's still building, and I think the hashtag Biddle has been used a lot in the EOS space. So yes, Biddle, look crazy, it's fine. Hold it out a little bit longer. We don't know when the bull run will be back, but they shouldn't stop us from contributing value. They shouldn't stop us from mentoring others. They shouldn't stop us from doing what we've set out to do. So for those who will quit and probably go into other industries and probably what they were doing before, it's still okay. You did your part, but don't just, for those who are still hanging in there, I'm like, please don't quit because things are bad. I mean, just do your best, and you never know when that turning point will check in, and you'll probably want to have been there, because we've had enough stories of guys who quit just before the good news came. It was literally 11:59 and you walked out at 11:52.
Yeah.
And then at 12 it's someone like, hey, but you went.
Yeah.
So I'd really just like to encourage guys who are in the space and just watching how things are going and saying, you know what, these things are bad, but yes, things are bad. Stick on. I mean, keep on and bring out the value that you're supposed to.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Believe in your vision.
Yeah, believe in your vision enough to stick with it through the crazy times, because they're real, and it's real for everyone. So let's keep on doing this.
Absolutely. I love it. I love that your ending words are encouragement. Of course they are. Like, that shouldn't surprise anyone at this point. It's fantastic. And you know what, to be quite honest, that needed to be said. Yeah, it did, because I know it's tough, and I see the moods being down, and it's people having to go outside and take more work and whatever.
Yeah,
I absolutely agree. And you have a community of people that are hanging on, that also want to share in the vision with you. So
absolutely. So for the sake of the person who is going to come later, don't quit.
A little guilt trip.
Yeah, it's okay. We can always do a round 2 and a round 3, so it's okay for the for the interview, the chats, and the calls. Yeah, so this is not all there is to talk about. It's just that at this point in time, this is our current chat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is okay. At least it has a good note around it, and so I love it.
Yeah, I prefer to be on the positive end. Of course, I'm not ignorant of the negative vibe. I am not. I'm very well aware. And I choose to be on the positive side. I choose to be on the encouraging side. And I'm like, if I see you ready to quit, I'll be there for you. And hey, let's meet on the other side when things are looking up.
Love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. You could tell it's not a blind positivity. You can tell it's a mental shift, which
yes.
I mean, we're all like you've said before, it's all about the internal and how we perceive things. So
yeah.
Love it. Man. Well, Man, I'm going to have to do this again another day too with a whole bunch of different set of questions because I'd love to.
That's okay. That's okay. Yeah.
But
I'm only a call away.
Yeah, seriously, right? Call away, a little
Yeah.
Telegram message.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, impressed. Have to say that. This was such a delight in so many ways. And I definitely think whether or not you intended to, I think you'll be reaching quite a few people just with some of the messages and just the different viewpoints you had and the different way to be positive but productive. So I really, really appreciate that. Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking the time. I'm excited
as well. Thanks as well. I really appreciate this opportunity.
Well, thank you. And keep being amazing because it's women like you that just help change the world, to be honest.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Roselyne. I enjoyed this.
Me too. I really have, and I look forward to the next one.
Yes, indeed. We will have to set up.
Yeah.
Well, I will say goodbye on here anyways. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Have a pleasant time.
You too.
Yeah.
This episode was brought to you by Scatter.